Welcome to part 2. Dicky Bird's going mad up there. I was trying to get out earlier because the camera light, because it was like 100 of them just took off in the street, like fucking great, like sort of backlit, you know. But yeah, so it's one of those points in my life where, because of some stuff that's happened this year, I'm not going to go into it at some point, you know, maybe further down the line I will, but suffice it to say that I've been sort of taking stock of life and asking myself a very important question. And the important question was, am I happy? Am I happy in my life? And it may surprise you to learn that actually I'm not really. And you might, you know, some of you are going to be sitting, are you fucking ungrateful or what, you know? But 3D and stuff's wonderful, right? But that's not all of life. That's not everything. That's not the be all and end all of my fucking life. Never has been, never will be. Although time has come down close to it. So what am I going to do? You know, it's just, I don't want to sit here. Well, I'm not sitting. I'm not only doing this walk in 40 years' time. We fucking walking frame, you know what I mean? Still staying the same shit, and still feeling like I haven't fulfilled my life. I've always said, whether I'm right or wrong, I've always believed that I was born for a purpose, like everyone else on this planet, right? We're all born for a purpose. I don't think I fulfilled my net. I honestly do not think I fulfilled my destiny, for want of a better fucking word. You know, I've learned in my time on this planet, the 40 years I've been here, that while you can plan as much as you like, life has a habit of coming up with some random shit and throwing a spanner in the works. And you might think, this is what I'll be doing in 10 years' time. I'll make you bet you'll be fucking wrong. Because life will throw something at you and say, no, you're going to do this instead. So, somebody's just good to follow the flow, you know what I mean? But, I don't know, it's hard to say what's in here, putting what's in here into words, you know. But suffice to say, I'm not overly happy with the way my life is. Like years ago, see, apart from the sort of birth of my kids, right, the happiest for me personally as a selfish individual, which I am, I'm a highly selfish individual, and I've always believed that as an artist, if you're going to do your best work, you've got to be selfish. You've got to be prepared to piss people off. You've got to be prepared to be confrontational. You've got to be prepared to tell somebody to stuff it, no matter whether they're powerful or not, right? I've always lived to that. But, you know, before the kids were born, when I was living on my own, not because I was on my own, but just the time I was in, you know, I had pots of money, right? It wasn't unusual for me to go on a night out with 400 notes in my pocket, which round here, right, in the concert area is pretty fucking unusual, right? I was making a lot of money. Not all of it from 3D, you know, because I was still sort of pretty green back then. I used to have a fucking wonderful time. I used to go on a Thursday night and jam on with my cousins who all play instruments and play all sorts of rock and blues stuff and get absolutely blotto in this fucking pub back room, you know, that we had with the stage and shit. You know, I could take myself off whenever I wanted to, anywhere in the country. You know, didn't have a passport back then, so I couldn't have just popped on a plane, but theoretically I could have done. You know, I used to have mates round all the bloody time. And I would sit down on night time, I would close all the curtains, you know, I'd get a couple of cans in, sometimes not even that. I'd put my chair, the sofa in the middle of the big surround sound 5.1 setup and blast it out and just, you know, listen to maybe a bit of Pink Floyd or Dream Theater, or, you know. The Wall was always a favourite one, as was Dark Side of the Moon, but, and sometimes it would just be watching sort of The Phantom Menace, because that only just came out on DVD at the time, which so nicely leads me into my next subject, because there's a whole load of things that I always wanted to do as a 3D artist, before I was a 3D artist, right? When I decided I wanted to do this for a living, well, that's not even right, I didn't want to do it for a living, I just wanted to do it and be very good at it. That was my whole motivation. And I wanted to be good at it because there was these things I wanted to do. There was short films I wanted to make. There was this, there was that. And there was always one selfish thing I wanted to do. And I've always said that if I was able to, and I ever decided to call it a day on the 3D side, this is what I'd do, would be the final thing. Because I don't know whether a lot of you know I've been a Star Wars fan most of my life, right? I'm not one of those dress up like a fucking Jedi things, you know what I mean? That's just fucking weird. But, you know, like the films. Yes, I even like the prequels. Because it's a case of leave your grain at the fucking door. There's far too many of this that came around with the advent of the internet of, I watch a lot of films and went to film school, therefore I know better than the director. There's really many film critics that don't know a fucking thing. I'm not about technical shit, right? That's bullshit, right? That's just to get a job done. But when I see some of the stuff that I see on review sites, and people who sometimes behave as if they're the next fucking Spielberg. Now, there's only one Spielberg in the world, you know what I mean? It's a pretty rare thing. And you can't all be the next fucking Spielberg or the next fucking J.J. Abrams or next whatever the fuck you want to be. Or even the first of you. It's going to be very rare. And you've got to face the fact that maybe, just maybe, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about and it's only a preference. Because a preference is not the same as knowledge, right? Not the same as proof. So, when people say to me, the prequel's bad because of this, because, well, why? Because initially there was about 50 guys went round the net telling everybody it was bad. And a lot of the reviews didn't like the fact that they weren't getting the preferential treatment they thought, right? That's the bottom. Were they amazing films? Well, maybe you think no, but personally, when I watch those, I go back to being 8-year-old again, right? So, to my 8-year-old brain in there, that was fucking awesome, right? You know, Qui-Gon Jinn, awesome. Little fucking like Anakin Skywalker, Personally, if you ever watched the extras, I think the kid that would have got the part if he hadn't was a better choice, but yeah, again, that's just me playing director then, you know. But before all that ever came out, one of the early Star Wars fan films was called Duality. Look it out, right? Then remember, this was made well before The Phantom Menace, right? Back when it was rather expensive to be a 3D artist. When knowledge of things like how to do chroma shots wasn't public fucking knowledge, right? A bunch of young lads painted the garage green, did a lot of chroma shots, and did a full 3D environment for this short. And at the time, it was better than anything else anybody ever seen, including test shots that would come out of ILM. And I absolutely believe that people who were doing the work on the look design and stuff for Phantom Menace and, you know, the prequels, took one look at that and had to rethink their fucking game. Because there's a lot of things in that, a lot of the looks transferred over. Now I'd love to know what happened to those guys. I think it was only 2 or 3 guys. And I would hope that they made something of their life. I would hope that now the supervisor at ILM or something, you know, I would hope that they came on and really showed people what for, you know. But it also pissed some people off in this burgeoning industry of a case of how dare these guys, you know, make my job harder. And that wasn't people at ILM, ironically enough. It seemed to be guys at lower end firms that were never going to get work on fucking Star Wars, you know, ever. But I always wanted to make a short, back then I used to say, as good as Duality. You know, but now I'd like to make it better. You know, that's an interesting shot, isn't it? I like to focus in. Just converging lines, 1 point perspective. But what time is it? But what I always want to do was get together guys my age that are in the industry now at the high end, right? Guys like obviously me, Zach Anderson, Hristo Vela, you know, the list fucking endless, right? There's loads of us that were Star Wars fans that now we teach the guys that end up at ILM. And it would be nice to, it's never going to happen, right? But it would be nice to get all these guys together that know their shit. And basically it's a nice way of saying, look, this is what you've inspired. We are now doing this. And we can do this quality. And I'm pretty sure we could actually, if you got together the cream of the industry, yes, you could do better than ILM. You know, and that's not big-headedness, like, I fucking hope so, because a lot of, you know, the guys that I'm on about are teaching their guys. If they can't, something's fucking wrong. You know, I'm sure that'll chuff the hell out of guys working over there. But it's the truth, right? And I would love to be able to do that. I would love to be able to just say, right, here's our duality. Here's what we can produce in that universe. And, you know, but it's not going to happen, right? that was one of the things I always said I would like to do last in my career. There was also a couple of shots at Lord of the Rings I wanted to replicate. You know, Helm's Deep. I wanted to do the whole of Helm's Deep. I also want to model. I've never done this actually. General Grievous. I want to do his full mask and face and shit. Right. I want to do the whole of General Grievous. Never got around that either. You know. But yeah. Anyway, go to the next video.